And welcome back to the WCLH radio. Yes, same hoodie, same outfit, same day interview as Maddie's. Mm-hmm. Don't get it confused. 4 hours later.
Yeah.
Well, 3.5 after the ending, but if you haven't checked that out, go check it out.
Respectfully.
Because we might reference it in
Yes.
this. So, I don't know how to say your last name either.
That is okay. Hi, guys. I'm Lindsey Scorey.
Scorey,
yes.
I would have wanted to say sorcery.
Sorcery. No, I've gotten scary. I've gotten that before. Well, here's the thing, though, is I was told growing up, you're the sports person. I was told growing up that I should be more into sports because my last name is the word score with a Y at the end of it.
Okay.
So that's how you think of it.
That's an easy way to know it. Because I always called Maddie Kennard.
Yeah, but it's Kai Nerd. You have to think she reads books. She's a nerd. Kai Nerd. Yes.
Okay.
Shout out, Maddie.
There you go. So if you didn't remember how to pronounce it, hopefully now you are. So just a little introduction what year you are and your major.
Okay, so as I said, my name is Lindsey Scorey. I am a sophomore communications major. Here with a lot of wonderful other communications majors in the department. And I also have minors in women and gender studies and English.
Oh, wow. So another English and communications pairing. You and Maddie must see a lot of each other.
Yes, we do. Same schedule.
So I'm just going to go right into this one because I'm sure it's the exact same answer as Maddie's.
Okay.
But how did you get into radio?
So I am going to imagine it's going to be the same answer. So for those of you who don't know, if you're a communications major, or sometimes I think DDMA majors, some, like a lot of other majors, have to take COM 102, which is Principles of Communication. And in this class, if you've taken it or if you have not, you have to get extracurricular hours in some comm department that you are not already a part of. So my freshman year, I already did speech and debate. I was a little involved with writing and stuff, but I wasn't as involved as I am now, arguably. And so Ariel was very into radio. Like, she already had, like, her setup in sports and everything. And she was like, hey, why don't we just make a show? And I had already introduced my friend Danielle, who had transferred here, who you guys will meet in a later episode. The four of us would sit together in class, and we were like, you know what? Why don't we just do a radio show? Like, we're 4 girls. We're fun. We're quirky. We'll have things to talk about. So we were like, yeah, let's do a radio show. And we kept, like, brainstorming ideas. I don't know if Maddie told you. We were originally supposed to be, like, the Spice Girls. What is it?
She did not.
She did. So what is it? What do they call where it's, like, Sporty Spice?
Like, isn't there more than 4?
No, there's more than 4, but we were going to be like the 4, because we were like, oh, Ariel's Sporty Spice.
Yeah.
And we were like, we'll each be a Spice, and we'll, like, do, like, the Spice Girls show. And then I don't know how that got cut. We probably thought that was, like, cheesy or something.
I'm glad it did.
I mean, I agree, but, like, it is really cheesy.
I'm glad it got cut.
And so we were like, what time slot's available? And we ended up doing Tuesdays at 11, so we were like, oh, that's Club Hour. So we were like, we'll do Club Hour Classics, and that's how our name got established. And yeah, thank God we aren't the Spice Girls. So
yeah, so I mean, just going right into the Club Hour Classics, then what's the dynamic there? Because outside looking in, you 4 are 4 quirky, not in an offensive way, but weird. Like,
I don't take that offensively.
Like, it's just a real interesting group, and I'm usually in a club at the time of the show, so I haven't really tuned in, but I've seen you all interact outside of it, and I can only imagine
you get a pretty
what
good
those
idea.
Recording sessions are. Yeah,
so arguably, if you take any 4 people, right, they're all going to be totally different, coming in with all these different perspectives. You take us 4 girls, like 3 of us being communications majors, 1 with a communication minor, we're all over the place. I will say that that's what I love about the dynamic. I love that each one of us is so different, and not even in music taste, because a lot of our show is conversation. We have, even at multiple times in shows, how to cut out songs because we were just talking so much about one topic, and we used to, like, purposely, like, prompt conversation about certain things, but I think the best way to describe our dynamic is that we just go with the flow. If there's a conversation to be had, one of us is going to bring it up, and we're all going to have different things to say. You know, sometimes one week one of us is the more, like, outgoing and funny and dropping jokes every 2 seconds, and other weeks it's somebody else. Sometimes somebody has something more serious to say, and we want to talk about something that's going on campus. But I will say our dynamic tends to be very lighthearted. It's very fun. We very much bounce off of each other, and I kind of love that. I kind of love that we're all different and we all take on different roles.
I think it translates better to an audience when everybody's comfortable and, like, having a good time.
For sure.
And, like, I think, like, people can really tell, like, when people are faking it to be on air and when people are really meaning it. Because I think, like, you're more inept to, like, laugh along if it's, like, they're genuinely laughing.
Exactly. Like, it's never, like, we don't like to be scripted at all. And, like, with that, too, it's funny you say that because I feel like sometimes we critique ourselves because we'll laugh too much. Like, we really try and just, like, stick to conversation. We don't want to laugh too much on air. But then we realize, like, that's just the way we are.
Yeah.
And I feel like people wouldn't see the genuineness of it if we didn't just go along
Yeah,
with
because
it.
I'm sure there's people that listen and like, oh my god, these girls just laugh and laugh and laugh. That's all. They're not even funny.
Dang,
I'm
call
sure
us out,
some
Dylan.
people. I'm sure some people feel that way.
We think we're funny. So,
Yeah, but
you know.
so with your major and several minors, what is like the future career plan? Like what? Like, I mean, like, and I mean like dream, not like, well, if this doesn't work out, I'll work at Rite Aid. I mean like, where is it like meant to be?
So I have a few.
And
I
give
will
your
say.
shoot for the stars answer, because Maddie
Okay.
earlier didn't want to say author, and I was like, no.
Go
Like,
for
you
it, no,
got
for
to.
sure. So here's the thing: is I don't have one like dream career that I definitely want. I'm very open to multiple things, but I would say. I would love to land a job in any company that works in New York. I think that would be really cool. I've always just seen New York City as like the big
Yeah, I was
leagues.
gonna say, I assume you mean the city.
Yeah, New York City. Like I've always seen that as like, I don't know, like I am a city person. I love people. I would love to work. If I was a writer, I would love to, the big dream would be to work for somewhere like the New York Times or Washington Post or something
Just
like
chilling
that.
in your New York penthouse.
Could you imagine? That'd be so great. But something, if I were to be a writer, something like that, I would really want to do. I actually would love to be a business owner. I know I don't really talk about that to people a lot because I get scared. Like I'm one of those people where like I'm afraid if I say I want something,
Any,
then
like,
I'm not
kind
gonna
of
get
business,
it.
or?
I would love to own my own vegetarian restaurant. That is going there. That's something not a lot of people know about me because I don't talk about it a lot with like people I'm not super close to.
Vegetarian or vegan?
I'd be willing to do vegan. I eat mostly vegan, but like I still eat cheese and stuff. You know,
you
when
know.
we live in NEPA, I'm a pizza girl.
A little bit of
cheating.
cheating.
Yeah. So
Especially if you went to New York City.
Oh, respectfully.
Forget about it.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be able to do that. So that's a dream of mine too. And I would love to work with the Women and Gender Studies minor. For anybody who does or doesn't know me, I am a very big feminist. It's something I pride myself in, and I would love to work for communities of underprivileged women somehow.
Yeah. I mean, I think even with something like that, that's something like, no matter what you do, like, you can find the time to do that.
Exactly. Like, I know even if it weren't to be my career, a lot of resource centers let people volunteer and work. Like, I wouldn't have my degree in, like, psychology where I could counsel people. But I think there are programs where you could sort of get certified or just help out and volunteer.
Yeah, for sure.
So whatever way, I would love to be doing that, too. So, but my ultimate dream is writing. Like, I'm not the big, out of all of us, like, Maddie is the English person.
So, like, Maddie, like, said, like, author, like, of a book. Like, when you say writing, do you mean like reporting, like writing like an author, like writing articles, like BuzzFeed type articles?
Yeah. So I will say I am not the biggest like journalist. I would argue I do more PR in my major, which I love. So I think even if I was writing for like some sort of company or working as a PR agent, I would also love to work in journalism. I think that would be really cool. I just have not been as like into it, and
they gotta get you in the Beacon. What are they doing?
They do. And I will say with I never expected, like, broadcast was the one concentration I just didn't have an interest in, and now that I do radio, I'd love to be a personality. I'm not good with behind the scenes stuff, like with equipment.
I only have the multimedia journalism concentration.
Really? Because but that makes perfect sense for you. Like the way you're able to do all this stuff, like this amazes me. Like I'm not.
It's not like a flex, but like
flex, please.
It's all self-taught.
Yeah, that's great. That's amazing.
Like, I went out, bought the equipment during the panorama, as Dr. Aswick was and I just made a YouTube channel, and I was like,
that's amazing.
Like, I gotta figure it out. I mean, it was pricey.
But now it's something that you don't only just do for fun, but could like benefit you in your future.
Yeah, I mean, now it's like on my resume. Like a hyperlink to my YouTube channel is on my resume.
You can see your material that you've already done
Yeah.
before. Yeah, I think that's really cool. So that's maybe if Dylan, you know, has a really professional show in the future, he could interview me for it one day when I'm in my career too.
I mean, I'm really doing sports, so
You never know. My last name's Scorey, so
yeah.
Please don't discount
This
me
is
like
nothing
that.
related to sports, but her last name says Score, so...
So thank you.
But,
Self-promo.
I listen to, like, these podcasters who started off as, like, fantasy football, but they have a second show that is just kind of relaxed. And
I like the
everyday life.
commentary. I could listen to, like, I don't know what you're saying half the time when I see your sports commentary, but, like, just hearing it is just so, like, relaxing. I could fall asleep to it.
I've heard that from people, and I wonder if it's, like, we know you, so we like it.
No, I genuinely, if I hadn't met you before, like, your voice is really good for, like, sports commentary specifically. So.
Hear that? ESPN, Fox.
Scout him.
I'm taking offers.
Saying. We're flipping the scripts.
But just coming back down to radio.
Okay.
There's plenty of favorite parts, but if you had to pick one.
If I had to pick one favorite part, I would say, and this is not to discount anything else I do, but I would say my favorite thing about radio is it never feels like a job or work. It always feels like something fun that I get to decompress.
That's so much how I feel.
Like, don't get me wrong, like, I do think sharing a show with other girls, like, Ariel does take on the bulk of the work that we do behind the scenes. So we do kind of just get to have the fun part of being on the show. But I would argue, like, I always look at it as, like, my time to decompress, not, oh, I have to do radio tomorrow.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've told so many people, I'm like, I don't want to go back to school, but, like, that's where the radio station is, so I gotta go back there. And it's like, I am like, everyone's like, oh, it's gonna be sad when school's over, and I'm gonna be like, school is a 24/7 stress.
Yeah,
I was
agreed.
like, it is not, like, you can't walk through the door of, like, your dorm and be like, oh, done for the day.
Yeah, and I truthfully, like, I don't understand, like, this is not to, like, diss anyone, truthfully, I'm just perplexed by it, like, I don't know what I would do if I had just school and I didn't have these other things that I got excited for, because I'd lose it. Yeah. I would lose it if I just had to do school. Like,
I mean,
this
but
is our outlet.
I know that's how a lot of, like, the science majors are.
For sure, and I give them a lot of credit for that, because that's something I couldn't do. Like, I need my fun with my serious time.
And, I mean, I could be wrong, but I think that it's because they have fun with the science.
Yeah, they genuinely enjoy it. And no, and that's true.
That's why I had to leave. I was originally pharmacy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
But okay, grades, I was, like, doing awful, but, like, if I was, like, I have this huge passion for this, like, I'm gonna get there, blah, blah, like, I would have kept trying, but I was, like, I genuinely don't even want to be in school anymore.
No,
and I was like, if I feel like that, this is the wrong place
No,
to
for
be.
Sure. And I feel like my classes I genuinely enjoy, like, all my comm classes I feel like I learn a lot from. I think, not to use the word that's probably going to be a little touchy around here, but the research aspect of it is just really, like, what's hard about it. Where after that, we're no more research. We're done talking about that.
Yeah, I'm not yeah. Anyways, so your least favorite part of radio?
So,
if there is one.
I honestly, simply because, you know, I'm a woman of my word, I'm not going to just answer no to a question. I will give you an answer. I think the only thing I have a hard time with radio is because I share a show, trying to figure out show times.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I think is hard, is
Maddie
like when
had a
people are
real
free.
similar answer, and I'm going to tell you the same thing I told her. I was like, that makes perfect sense. And I really fully get it, because I do my show 3 times a week live.
Yeah.
With 2 to 3 other people.
Because if you're not live, like, you can't just be like, oh, we're not going to record today, we'll record tomorrow. Like, no, you go live.
We're live. Like, I don't really know how many viewers concurrently tune in. I know we have at least 1 to 5. And that's because they have Martella's phone number and text it.
Oh, I love that.
But I'm sure, like, there's people that are at their job with just 90.7 on.
Exactly,
I would,
and they listen.
Really assume.
Well, because I feel that way too, because we know of at least a few people who listen to our show, and, like, it makes me feel really good. But I would still do it if nobody was listening, and I mean that truthfully.
Well, I mean, I definitely would too, just to have in my portfolio. But I had, like, kind of a interesting experience with somebody who was, like, a fan.
Really?
Like, I didn't know them, so when they were like, I'm a huge fan of your work, like, I love,
Did they
like,
go
the
here?
show. Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
And I was like, did I just meet a fan?
Oh my god, and
Like,
you didn't know them beforehand?
No.
That's so funny.
Like,
are they, like, a similar major or no?
I don't
You don't know. You don't know facts about your fans, but they know facts about you.
Well, I'm in the public. They're not. Like, as far as I know.
I love it here.
But, so, I do want to talk more about your show, just a little bit. I know my show, no real music.
Mm-hmm.
Your show does feature music.
Yeah.
So, what is Lindsay's go-to music genre?
I was waiting for this question because you'll never get a straight answer on me. I feel like Maddie probably said alternative. So, yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, they might go up on different days, but again, like, they were recorded hours apart.
Yeah, so let me say my most listened to is probably R&B soul, or like hip-hop.
Any, like, artists?
Specifically, I'm a huge Kalani, LMA. Like, I listen to a lot of olds, like Ludacris. Like, I don't know if you consider that,
Ludacris? Dog.
Don't out me here, okay? I'm trying not to, like, out myself.
She's a huge fan of the Fast and Furious movies.
Yes. Speaking of Maddie,
yeah.
But, anywho, I'm also an alternative fan. I do like alternative music. I feel like being an alternative fan, you can't say, oh, I'm an alternative fan, because I'm not, like, an alternative fan.
I want to ask you, because I asked Maddie, alternative music, what's your definition of that? Because mine is, like, anything that doesn't fit into the other ones.
That's what I was going to say, is at its core, the word alternative is literally just the songs that don't fit into other categories. I see alternative as, like, when I consider, like, indie music, I never really consider it to be, like, fast-paced. Like, I consider it more like, I would listen to this to, like, study or forget that the world exists.
Yeah, that's kind of what Maddie was saying.
So, yeah, that's why I really like that. Like, it depends on what mood I'm in. I'm also a very big rap fan, respectfully.
Would you have guessed that, fellow feminists? Would you have?
Goodbye. And then one thing I know Dylan and I share in common, we're both Drake fans.
Yeah.
As we should
I
be.
didn't talk about music on my interview, but I have a Drake tapestry in my room.
Do you really?
Probably about the size of the amount of wall you can see.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah, it's huge.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
No, but mostly, okay, because the best way I can answer is, like, if I were to have my own show, I would probably do a combo of everything. I like rock too. I like throwbacks. I like a lot.
The thing with that is, though, people would be turning your radio on and off all.
Yeah, because they wouldn't follow. Yeah,
they'd be like, Drake to this indie.
No, next. Literally, good point. Well, I think I would theme, like, certain, like, shows. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I like that we do with Club Hour Classics is we'll theme it.
Yeah.
So it's like specifically throwback songs or indie songs or like there's always a theme to it. It's never just gonna be like.
Did
two
you do
songs.
a country one yet? Because Maddie does not like country.
Hayden Hale, if you're watching, turn the camera off. No.
You're not going to?
We're not going to.
What if you have Hayden as a guest?
So I would be a guest on, yeah, we would be a guest on his show. I don't think we would do country just because of our brand. I like, to be clear, if we're going to talk controversy here, I like some good country in the summer or at a wedding, but it needs to know its place. Do you know what I mean?
Our brand does not represent country.
Our Club Hour Classics does not support country music, respectfully.
I should have put country music on my playlist.
Well,
it's not too late to change it, I guess.
Here we are.
So you mentioned that you do some other co-curriculars.
Yes.
At least one.
You want me to talk about at least one?
I want you to... No. You just mentioned that you do at least one more. I don't know how much you're involved in. I want you to tell us what makes you different than the other Club Hour Classic girls in terms of your other co-curriculars.
Sure. So if I look familiar to anyone, these might be some of the reasons why. Coming in, I'll go in like a little bit of a chronological order.
Okay.
Respectfully. Coming into college, I am part of the honors program with Maddie. There's a lot of really cool people involved with that. Definitely Jen and Dr. Q can do a phenomenal job of running the program. It's really great. I highly suggest, looking into it if you wanted to be an honors student. I also do Wilkes U Democrats. As I mentioned, I'm a feminist earlier. I don't know if that comes as much surprise. I do it with Hope Williams. Really, really great people involved on that board. It's a really great time. I've also been doing speech and debate competitively since I'm in high school. That's a really big part of who I am.
Flex.
Just a subtle flex. If you can't tell, I'm a little talkative. Got a little bit of that from speech and debate. It's something I love. And one thing it's funny that I do radio now is I got second in the state my senior year of high school in Extemporaneous Commentary, which is essentially they give you a topic.
I'm so glad that you went into explaining it because I would have just been, yeah.
Respectfully, there's a lot of weird names for stuff, but like you get a topic. It could be like any theme. It could be like literally like JFK.
Before or right then?
But you're given it and you get 30 minutes to prep a speech. and then you sit down and give a 5 to 7 minute speech.
Okay.
It's a really cool event, and I think it's a lot of why I like doing radio, because I like that kind of off-the-cuff conversation and talking. And
yeah, as you mentioned, she didn't prepare any answers to my questions.
No, I couldn't have. I couldn't sit here. That would not be me.
I do.
Yeah, I'd be like, wait, like, but then me in my head trying to think of what I do. So speech and debate is a very large part of who I am. I've written for The Beacon, I've written for The Medium in the comm department. I recently joined Zebra Communications, which is our PR firm on campus.
It sounds like Club Hour Classics is the executive board for the
It is. So a little shout out to Dance Marathon if you guys were looking to getting involved in April. And I'm also an e-mentor. That's a job I have on campus that I absolutely love. Missy, if she's out there, she's a phenomenal person. It's a really great program. I love my mentees. I have a little bit of involvement. Oh, I'm also a student government representative. That's what it is.
The list goes on. This is a bigger list than I ever anticipated when I wrote the question.
I'm sorry, I'm blushing a little bit because I don't want to seem not humble.
Yeah.
But I love everything I do on campus. I really don't. I wouldn't do something if I didn't truly love it, and I mean that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So, I kind of knew an interesting thing about Maddie. Mm-hmm. I thought that I shouldn't bring in your politics, but you did. But something interesting that people wouldn't know based on where they've seen you in activities.
Yeah, so I will say, I think to some people I know, that, like you said, that doesn't come as a surprise. I am very adamant about the things I care about, and I think to people who see me or know me, that is the case. I was going to use an interesting fact is that I am vegetarian, even though I did mention that earlier. Go 3 years strong. But one thing I will say, like, when you're talking about politics, in high school, I grew up Catholic. I grew up in a more, I don't want to say conservative family, but, like, I definitely, didn't
conservative family.
Yeah, like, my parents are, like, when I say that, like, my mom and dad, like, they're great people. They raised me to have my own independent thoughts and stuff like that, but it definitely was, like, I didn't break a lot of norms. When I was in high school, I kind of I went with the flow, and it wasn't until my junior year of high school, the Parkland shooting happened, and they had the March for Our Lives in Washington, D.C., and my school, I tried to organize to go see the march with my school, or go and participate, and my school was like, we can't stand by this, but they'd taken, like, a lot of other groups to marches for, like, pro-life and stuff like that, so I didn't understand. So I ended up doing with another organization, we all went to this march, and just watching, like, people my age, some even younger, honestly, at the time, like, just speak their thoughts so eloquently and so passionately. Like, I already was in speech and debate, and I cared, and I knew my voice mattered, but that's when I started, like, taking into account what I said, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I was taught how to speak, but not what to care about.
It gave, like, your words meaning.
Yes, exactly. And the thing that I most want to express to people through doing that now is, like, everyone cares about different things. I don't expect people to care about the exact same things I care about, or have the exact same opinions, but I think, like, that's so important to teach people, like, how to have a voice. And I don't think you need a higher education to do that. I think, like, how you say, like, you self-taught yourself a lot of stuff with technology and YouTube. I think you can self-teach yourself. Does that sound so? It doesn't sound right, but you know what I'm saying. Like, you
know what I mean.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, I think that is something that, like, people might not know. Like, I think a lot of people just assume, like, I am this way. But, like, if you'd met me, like, 5-6 years ago, like, I was not the kind of person to just stand for things. Like, now I think I'm much more, like, actively aware of things. And I try to be an outspoken person. Because I think it's scary. It is. Especially when you're involved.
I mean, I can even, like, throw back to a conversation I had with her. I was like, if I disagreed with you, I wouldn't want to get into an argument with you. Because, like, in such a respectful way, like, you seem so, like, into whatever you do that it's like, I would not be ready for the smoke.
I appreciate that. Like, at first I think I took that in a way of, like, oh, you wouldn't want to have an argument with me? Like, what? Am I not, like, a, like, easy person to approach? But I really do appreciate that, because, like, it's not that I think I have more knowledge or better anything than other people. I think it's more just, like, I have, like, cared so much about things for a while now that, like, I'm just used to that. And I think sometimes when you do things like speech and debate, it's hard to separate, like, this is a normal conversation.
This is not a debate.
Exactly. Like, I'm getting there, though. I'm definitely getting there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, that's something that, like, I appreciate getting to talk about, because, like, you know, like, I was gonna say, when you are involved with things, people think they know who you are based on these certain things about you, but you never completely know people.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think you set up a great transition to the end of the interview, because if you want to have your voice, you can join WCLH Radio.
90.7,
if you are a Wilkes
baby.
student, and you have to preface it with that.
Yes.
So,
yes.
big reason to come here. Club Hour Classics every Tuesday.
Every
from
Tuesday at 11 o'clock.
11 to what? Is it
Usually 1.
Usually 1.
Usually 12:31.
Usually 12:31, 11 to whenever.
Tune in.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised.
11 a.m. is the tune-in time, and
Yes.
stay as long as you like.
Don't forget to keep it locked.
Yeah.
That's what you can't forget to do.
Social medias for Club Hour Classics will be in the description, as I mentioned, as for all the other WCLH radio social medias. YouTube banter, like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. Peace.
Do it all. See you guys.